Good morning. My name is James Roberts, and I serve the congregation of St. Andrew's Presbyterian Church here in Houston. And as many of you are, we are facing the challenges of how to gather in community and worship while still being quarantined and practicing safe social distancing. And we've had worship the past 2 Sundays online, and the first Sunday we did Facebook Live. You can actually see our stream here, and you actually, if you go to our video section and then scroll down to all videos and click on the sermon for March 15th, you can see what we did. I've had several requests for people, from people asking how we did it and what our approaches are. First of all, we wanted to provide an experience that was simple yet worshipful, so we included music and prayers and a sermon and not a whole lot else. The key to doing this successfully is to keep it simple. There's there a lot of things that could go wrong and could cause your your people's experience to be more stressful than not. Our first week we had about 24 to 48 hours before we had to put something together. So we did the quickest, easiest thing that we could do, and we did Facebook Live. We had one iPhone, created a link on our St. Andrew's page, and had a sermon, prayers, and simple music. And we just put the iPhone on a tripod and just panned it back and forth between 2 different shots. We didn't have a lot of time to get lyrics ready, so we put them up on the screen where they would normally be, and then we just focused the camera up on the screens. And people were still able to worship at home, and we had some experiences of people freezing and not being able to access the feed, which I think Facebook was pretty busy that morning, live streaming more people than they normally would. So, but that was our first experience, and it went fairly well. So if you're looking for a simple, practical, easy solution, that's one way to do it. And we kept everything acoustic. We didn't use any mics. We didn't use any fancy equipment. So if you are on a low or no budget and want to keep things simple, that's the way to go. iPhones have great cameras nowadays, and you can get great shots. Again, keep it simple. That's the biggest advice I could give anybody else. Now, following that, we had first of all, before I leave the Facebook thing, make sure that your page is set to public, and that when you do go live, that you make sure that it's public and not private. And you can save the video for later, so if people are experiencing issues, they can watch it later. Also, with Facebook, it says that you don't have to log in to view it, but they're really insistent about wanting you to log in or sign up for an account, so it can be a little bit of a hindrance, especially for people who aren't used to the internet or used to the pop-ups and how to dismiss them. So with a number of our people in our congregation being not as tech savvy as others, we wanted to make it a more seamless experience, which is why we decided to actually get away from Facebook. You can do Facebook, it's easy, and you can watch videos without logging in, but do just be aware that there are some pop-ups and some things where Facebook wants you to log in. The other option we thought of was YouTube, but you can't go live from a mobile device unless you have 1,000 plus followers, and that is not our demographic, so let's put it that way. So we did not have 1,000 YouTube followers, so we couldn't go live from a mobile device, and we thought about setting up some hardware to make that happen, but the reason we decided against YouTube is they have targeted ads, and we have no way of knowing, at least not from our knowledge, how to control or what people are seeing. And the last thing we wanted was some very unrelated ad playing right before people go into a worship experience. So we did some research last week. There was a pretty steep learning curve. So I want to kind of boil some of that down for you if you want to take the next step after a Facebook Live experience. So our main goal was to have a one-click experience that was ad-free and free from login, especially for the people that who aren't tech savvy, who maybe are just watching on their phone or from their laptop or their computer at home, where we just sent out one link and that was it. And surprisingly, that was a lot more difficult than we were originally intending or hoping for. But ultimately, once we jumped through some hoops and did some research, it actually ended up not being too bad. So I was kind of wanted to share some lessons I learned, maybe save some people some time. First of all, we have our own webpage, which is, I know a lot of churches do. So we just set up a page called sahouston.com/live, and there we were able to embed a live stream feed on that page, so that at the appropriate time people could just go to that page and see us live. Just a little quick sidebar is that some churches are deciding to pre-record their services, where they gather on a Saturday and set up some shots and then mix and edit a video that they send out. And that's a great option for some people as well, especially if you've got cameras, but you don't want to go that extra route and headache of going live. Our goal is we actually wanted a live experience, so that when people are watching, it's actually happening real time. So in a spiritual way, we're gathering live. How we got to a live stream experience. We did a lot of research about how to do that. What we ended up deciding on was going with Vimeo, who recently, or I'm not sure how recently, but they acquired a company called Livestream, and which is a service that allows you to have a live stream embedded onto your website. Plus, it comes with this amazing software suite called Studio 6, and it allows you to pull in audio and video, and also allows you to overlay graphics like you've seen. I'm actually recording this video through Studio. So it allows you to set up some of these overlays. We were able to put our scripture up on the screen while we still had the pastor preaching. I'm trying to remember. We don't have the video quite set up just yet from yesterday, but it is on Vimeo, and you can, once it is uploaded, you can edit it out, and we'll be taking it from there and putting it on YouTube and Facebook. But so once we decided that we were going to go with Vimeo live stream, then the tech progression started, trying to figure out how to get the technology working. There are other options for live streaming out there. Some of them are cheaper, some of them are less viable, but this seemed like a good semi-middle of the road option. Let me just show you real quick. This is the Vimeo Livestream, the pricing. It is $75 a month and it's payable annually, so you do have to pay the $900 up front. So if you have any sort of budget concerns or issues, that could be something that inhibits you right up front. Fortunately, we did have some designated funds that we were able to pull for that. But it's for a year, and one of the things that we desire is that after we are able to start meeting again corporately in person, that we still have a live stream set up that we're able to use. That's why we decided to go ahead and go with that. One of the things that was a limiting factor for us was cameras. Once all of this started happening and you have millions of people needing to work from home, teach from home, learn from home, communicate from home, from a video perspective, there was not a webcam within 250 miles of Houston. We looked everywhere, and of course then all the major, like Amazon is starting to limit what they're shipping, so we were kind of backed into a corner. So we got creative. One of the interesting things I found out is that you can use an iPhone as a webcam. So I used an app called Epic Cam, which allows us to use the iPhone as a webcam. And you just download the app on your iPhone. You download the driver for your PC or Mac, either one, and as long as they're on the same Wi-Fi network or even connected via USB, it's able to bring that camera feed into your computer. And this is the website, what it looks like. Well, for some reason it decided to go away. There we go. So that's Epic Cam, and again, that's just an app, and then you download the drivers onto your PC or Mac, and it's very easy to use, and functions like functions like a second camera. I'm fortunate that my wife works from home, so she had a webcam that she uses for work, so we brought that in as our second camera, and we're able to set up 2 different shots, and within Livestream's studio software, we were able to switch between a couple of different scenes, and if you have any sort of presentation software, we use ProPresenter. With that projecting onto a second monitor, we were able to switch between one scene, another scene, and then ProPresenter pretty seamlessly. We had some audio issues, but other than that, but that was kind of the exception rather than the rule, and we'll talk about audio in just a second. So Epic Cam, a webcam, a camera will do. Now, one of the things that we had an issue with was we had camcorders, but a lot of them are HDMI capable, and most HDMI hookups on computers are just output. It's meant for adding an extra monitor, that sort of thing. So my first solution was to use this camcorder that we have at the church, but I was not able to get it to work. You could only import pictures. They do have adapters that are available for like $150, but we're fortunate that we used the Epic Cam app, and again, we could have done with just the Epic Cam app, but we were fortunate to have the 2 cameras, so we could have the 2 shots without panning back and forth. So the audio solution that we had, you could always record the room, which is what we did on Facebook Live the first time. We had somebody playing piano and singing. We had the camera. The iPhone was close enough to the pastor and the minister praying that we didn't need extra miking, so you can keep it that simple as long as you're pretty nearby. One of the things you'd probably need to do is just set up some tests test runs. We did many tests of live and what the audio and video look like. But one of the things that we are fortunate in that at our church we have a great sound system, and we have individual monitors, in-ear monitors for the people in our band. And so we were able to actually use one of those monitor stations and feed directly into the computer. And we used a simple, small, I don't know if you would call it a switcher or what you would call it, but it's called Scarlett Solo, and I got it from Guitar Center, which was not sold out of everything like Best Buy and Micro Center and every other place that sells electronics. So let me show you the website for that. This is what it looks like. It's a very simple to use interface. You just need a little 1/8 inch adapter, 1/8 inch to headphone for either this or this, and or if you want to go just do an XLR, you can do that, probably in combination with a direct box. But what we did was we just used the adapter here and did a feed off of one of our monitors, and it just goes, and then from the back of that there's a USB port, and it just is plug and play, and came into the studio software for Livestream seamlessly, and I'm able to mix the levels on that monitor live, so without having to actually be at the soundboard, which is on the far back of the sanctuary, away from everything else, the cameras and everything. So and so as I'm walking through all this, I'm sure there are probably a lot of tech savvy folks that are thinking of other solutions for this, and it's like, oh, I could have done this or I could have done that. And yes, there are many solutions to this, but there are a lot of people who have been asking me, what is your solution and how are you getting this done? And so this is my solution. It's not by far not the only solution, but it is the solution that we came up with in a week's time. And it worked out pretty well, all things considered, thank God. Let's see, what else are we going to cover? Drawing a blank, as seems to happen a number of times these days, as we are struggling with a new reality. Well, basically, that's about it. The two cameras, the audio feed, and then also ProPresenter. There was a little bit of a learning curve with the studio software, but I think it's pretty intuitive, and I think anybody with some tech savvy would be able to handle that pretty well. If you have questions or need any help, I'd be happy to assist in any way. You can email me at james@sahouston.com. I'm sure for some people this video may answer some questions, and for some it may bring up even more questions. Unfortunately, I don't have the time or the bandwidth to really go into in-depth troubleshooting or setting up technology, but I can offer advice, encouragement, prayer, and maybe just point people in the right direction. I think the key is, again, keep it simple. If you don't know, if you don't have somebody on your team that really knows what they're doing technology-wise, I would just really encourage you to stick with Facebook Live. This isn't going to last forever, and unless, like us, you plan on having some sort of live stream feed available after this. That's been our goal for a while now, but we've sort of been kicking that down the road, but now we're kind of in the situation where we do need live stream, so we're actually making this happen for even after the fact. But if that's not your ultimate goal, and you don't want, and you're being frustrated by technology, go simple, keep it simple, and do Facebook Live. But just be aware that if you do go any further away from the route of Facebook Live, that the technology hurdles can be fairly challenging for a lot of folks, and that you would need, a fair size budget in order to get things in order. So I do hope this has helped you in any way. If you're struggling in any way, God be with you, and God be with all of us in our whole nation and world, and our church. Our church is struggling in how to still be the church when not being able to gather en masse, but think we can make this happen online and with lots of prayer, and God will do more than we can even ask or imagine, as our pastor tells us every week. So who knows what's going to come of this, but we do know that God is in control, and that he will do wonderful things if we are just faithful. God bless you all, and best of luck in your live streaming.